Welcome back, you beautiful people, to the Real Collective podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sean Tasse, joined by my illustrious co-host and pal, Kyle Miller. Kyle, happy day to you. How are you keeping cool these days?
Thankfully not working the old jobs that I had of lawn maintenance and landscaping and I'm a very white male, and roofing is not my friend. So
Yeah.
as I can see, it would not be good for you either.
I'll tell you how hot it was in the car. If you're watching on video, you can see this thing on my elbow. What it was is I put my elbow on the center car rest console and I peeled it away, and a piece of my skin got stuck to the leather that was so hot on the center console. That is how hot it was in my car.
Dude,
Got back into it yesterday. Ridiculous. Yeah, as always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends who are interested in this type of conversation. We'll talk about real estate stuff too, not just pasty old white guys. You
yeah.
can download us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can download the buyer or seller guide below. You can get into the deal section to get some Magic Mind. More about them later. Collective 20 is the code. The link is down below, where you can get 20% off a one-time hit, or you can get 48% off a subscription. And of course, you can always book an appointment with Kyle or I in the Calendly links. All of that's going to be down in the description below. We wanted to talk today a little bit about selling a matrimonial home while you're going through a separation and how tough that is. So some jovial, we gotta laugh a little bit, gotta laugh sometimes. Some jovial explanations, some laughs a little bit before we get into it are important, because this is a tough thing for a lot of people to go through. I always say when I'm doing my training for the agents, there's 3 reasons that people are buying houses on the way up, and there's 3 reasons that people are selling houses on the way down. So buying houses, the 3 main motivators: you got a new job, right? So you're getting like more income or whatever it is. You're getting married, or you're having a kid. And it's the reverse on the way down. You lost your job, you're getting divorced, or someone passed away. There's a birth or a death there. Right? So that's those are normally the 3 reasons that people buy on the way up, and normally the reasons people sell on the way down. So
That's a very good take, actually. It's a very good take on it.
yeah. I mean, life forces you to change how you're living, and those are the main 3 indicators. Have a job, lose a job. Someone's born, someone dies. Someone's getting together, someone's getting not together. So that's it. That's my take. So this is one of the reasons to sell. It's probably between a death is really hard, a divorce is really hard, and losing a job is really hard, right? So yeah, this is one of those things that we just have to get involved with. And you've had a couple of experiences recently, Kyle, where someone's going through a divorce, and you've seen on the money side what all of that means. What's your hot take on it?
The biggest thing is, I'll say this: I had a divorce lawyer that years ago I had a podcast on my own, and I think I was one of the few in Ottawa that actually had one. And I was talking to,
Tell me who your favorite guest was on your podcast.
oh, it had to be you, 100%. It had to be you. Yes,
Take
flying.
it.
It's great. We'll go back to that someday. Um,
Find it.
but this this family lawyer had said to me, well, he was real estate at the time, but he had done family law.
Yeah.
And he got out of family law because of how tough it was on him emotionally. And it was dragging his family down because of how, I don't want to say needy, but just how emotionally invested it has to get, right? Or he got, I should say. And the one thing he said was, when it comes to the home, especially if there's just a difference on the way in terms of income, or someone brought more down payment than the other or something like that, is he's like, write these cohabitation agreements and these expectations that you have while you love each other. Because when you don't love each other, all hell breaks loose, right? And people are like, well, I don't need it. Like, I love this person, it's going to be forever, and and that's great, right? We all want that. But when you write agreements to protect each other, when you feel that way about each other, it's better when you don't feel that way about each other.
Right.
And what the first and foremost thing I see is I'll get a phone call, happens often. Hey, we're separating. We need to see what we can do with the house. No problem. My first question, hey, sorry to hear that. Do you guys have a separation agreement written up? No, everything's amicable. It's going to happen super easy. And I will literally say, look, I can run the numbers and I will run the numbers for you on what, some expectations. But hear this, no bank will touch you without a separation agreement. Kyle, don't worry. It's going to be there in a week. 6 months later, I'm still holding on to that deal, trying to plan things out because as amicable as you may feel, the minute we start seeing what a house is worth, how much money is on the table, you got to be a pretty big person to just be like, I'm going to let that go to somebody else. And I'm going to take the hit because that's what's happening. Something's not fair. Something's never even. And that's the thing. So if we could turn this off right now, if I said to you, hey, you know what, get a separation agreement. If you don't have one, don't bother doing anything. We could turn it off right now. That's the main thing. Get a separation agreement.
So here's the crazy thing is recently I had some clients, it was like a foregone conclusion that they were going to get separated. And before they got separated, they sold the matrimonial house, moved into a rental, divided the assets of the sale of the matrimonial home, 50-50. You get this much, you get this much. The end. We're in a rental now. There's no assets that we collectively own. Then they made the decision to say, okay, let's get separated now. You've got yours, I've got mine. We're in a rental. There's some furniture to sort out. That's it. But they both kind of knew, they were kind of like waiting for the other one to like, like it was pretty evident that it was on the rocks when they did this. And yeah, so that it doesn't always happen like that. Like that was rare to watch that scenario unfold. I've seen other scenarios where it unfolds amicably, and it really does, right? Where two people are like, hey, yeah, this sucks, but it's for the best, right? We did one a couple of years ago and sold the house. Separation agreement allowed them both to buy their next houses as well. So we sold the house and we got to shopping and we did all of it, like 2 purchases and a sale, all within probably I'm going to say like a 3-month window. And it worked, right? Both.
Now that's because of that separation agreement.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
See, because I'm working on one right now where I spoke to this client again 6 months ago, and he had said, he's like, this is not amicable, but we both need this to end. I'm like, okay, cool. You need to get that. I said, I'll do your numbers and whatever on the expectation of what you're supposed to get paid out and support and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I have to literally work on this today to get them numbers because they are actually at the point where they have not finished. They are still in argument with expensive lawyers, but he needs to be out. So they will have to buy a house together again. They will own 2 houses together because it's the only way he can buy and get out, right? And that's one of the route. Now maybe they won't work. I got to do the numbers, but that's the expectation. Right. And someone out there is going to say like that's dumb, and why would they do that? They just buy it on their own. Well, maybe they can't, because if you own another house, right, you don't just get to say I'm separated, right, and everything just goes away, right? It doesn't work like that.
Yes, yeah.
I'm separated, but I still own, my name is on that house. Yeah, but my ex-partner takes care of that. Says who?
Yeah.
Who says that? Yeah. You don't just get to arbitrarily say that.
Right.
Right. The bank said you are 100%, you are 50% owner and 100% responsible. So now you want to go buy a new house, you have to afford to pay for the old house
and the new one
and the new house. And most people can't do that.
That's right. So they need to help the partner. So it's okay. That's an interesting move. You made a comment earlier. You said, "Oh, it's fair and even." I want to draw. Another thing I say often is just because, to be fair, it doesn't necessarily have to be even. Like even and fair are not like even does not
Equity and equality.
right.
Equity
Yeah,
and equality are different
exactly,
things.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is getting into, it could get into a political conversation even potentially here.
Weird.
Well, let's not go there. But what we mean is, look, one person is maybe making more money than the other person, and the other person is probably doing the heavy lifting in the relationship, the emotional work, the household stuff, all that sort of stuff, you know. And what is the bank looking at? Money. Give a fuck about what you're, who's putting who to bed, and who's making lunches, and who's doing 70% of the cleaning versus 30% of the cleaning. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is money. So that's not fair, right? Because both parts of what's happening in a relationship are important and valuable, but they're given different values. So it's not fair, but it needs to be equal. So there needs to be some sort of something, and it's hard, and especially, I hate to say it, but a lot of times, not all the times, but a lot of the times, it's the man who's making more money, it's the woman who's taking on the emotional role, and the family stuff and the house stuff, right, carrying all of that burden. And then, so one person decides to leave, and they've got to figure out a way, how do we make this right, how do we make it equal, because it's not going to be fair, and it's going to be unfair for the person who's in the better financial situation. It's going to feel unfair for that person, right? To be equal, if that's important. Maybe it's not.
Yeah. And it's we've said this countless times, but it's all of it comes down to the numbers, right? Like the bank is an unemotional being
Yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
right? Someone there is pushing a button and wants to help you, and I want to help you and that. But at the end of the day,
But you're
when
not.
it comes down to it, the numbers are the numbers, right? So that's how it has to go. Can you support owning two houses? Yes or no? No. Great. Sell one and then go buy another,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's it. And again, and then it gets into that, then it gets into the, we're getting nitty gritty, but it's like, okay, there's support being paid. That's as good as a debt. You just bought a Tesla for
Yeah.
what you're paying out in support,
Yeah.
right? Like that's it. Can you now buy this house and support that Tesla? Right? So it's things like that really kick the ass on stuff like this.
Well, there's a lot of moving pieces, and it's not just money, it's also emotional through the process. And so to be able to juggle all of that, you got to be on the top of your game. You need a magic mind. You need this magic mind that we've been drinking this last little while. And I'll tell you, I've been drinking it, and it's really had me at the top of my game handling these things. I'm going through a process right now where we're dealing with a couple who's getting divorced, and actually two different couples who are getting divorced. We're going through a process with two completely different experiences, but being at the top of my game and being mentally sharp and being able to address the weird stuff that's sort of coming down the pipe, and not getting invested emotionally, but allowing the clients the space to do that. That's a huge burden, like a huge mental and emotional burden. Like you said, it's hard to do because you're taking it on, but being cerebral enough as a result of taking this magic mind, it's really allowing me to serve my clients well and give them the level of service that we strive for all the time. And huge shout out to Magic Mind. Big fan of the product. They're a big fan of the show. They like what we're saying, and yeah, so it's a good collab. I'm happy to have it. I think we have maybe one or two more sponsorships going with them, but I'd like to keep it going if it's possible. So Magic Mind, if you're watching this and you'd like to keep sponsoring us, we would love to keep consuming and performing at the top of our game and benefiting our clients. So shout out to them.
Yeah, because I'll agree with you on that. I broke down and I don't have any Magic Mind left. I think I'm waiting for a refill. But it's been a busy week, and I broke down and I got an energy drink, and I'm like, that is not the same feeling. It really isn't. Like I like the taste fine, but I'm like, this is not the same feeling that I have at all. Like I so much. It's such a nicer arc. It is such a nicer, clearer, longer term level.
Yeah.
than going with the spike in the crash.
Yeah.
And as much as I might like the taste, I'm like, it's a bad habit, and I like not having to do it on certain days. I'll
I
say that for sure.
Yeah, man,
So
I'm with you. Yeah, that it's got a good taste, but you're doing something bad when you're drinking it. It's
100%.
I shouldn't be doing this, but I need a little extra. The Magic
Yeah.
Wine, it feels like it doesn't really give you the little extra. Like it's a different vibe, man. It's a totally different vibe. It's a lot more smooth, a lot more mellow, a lot more cerebral than it is like heart pumping.
It's not that,
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
that to this.
Yes.
Like, it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a visual. I'm a visual guy.
It's
But
it's hard to explain it other than talking about what our experience is with it. Um, and you feel like you're healthy because it's green. I don't know if you ever went to Booster Juice and you get that little grass shot.
wheatgrass.
Wheatgrass,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's what
Yeah.
it tastes. That's kind of what it tastes like. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, okay, I'm doing a good thing, and yeah. So, anyways, shout out to Magic Mind. Let's get back into story time. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this with someone who you think might like this conversation, talking about separations and selling. And yes, it sucks. You made a point earlier, I think off air. Maybe you made it on air. I'm not. I don't remember. Not enough Magic Mind. The most important first step after if you are going to be selling, obviously you need to hire a realtor, but you need to know what it's worth. And getting an appraisal done, paying whatever it is, $300-400 to get a professional appraiser to come in and say, here's what the number is for your house. From there, you can actually go and run your numbers. What some people will do is they'll say, oh, well, let's interview 3 different realtors, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, the realtors will want to come in and buy the business. So they'll overbid, thinking that they're bidding for something, when in reality, what the client needs is an unbiased opinion of the value of their home. And some agents don't want to go in and do that because they're like, man, if I'm going up against people who are like overshooting the value of this home, I'm not going to be able to work with them. So I don't want to do that. So what we do, because we're normally the people who are like, here's the fair market value, here's the number, this is what it is, here's the proof about why it is. We're not gonna fluff you up. This is the reality. You don't like it because someone else gave you a gassed up number. Sorry, but that's what it is. You want to work with someone who's honest, is telling you the truth, or do you want to work with someone who's going to gas you up? Right. So, yeah, get an appraisal, I guess is my point.
Well, and the thing is too is that, and it's no offense to realtors, it's just that, but that exact example is why the bank won't use it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You as the two people enthralled, entrenched in this, right? Literally are setting yourselves up for disappointment again. This is already emotional. It's already taxing on you and your ex-spouse, the family, everybody around you. And you're getting yourself wired because Jimmy the realtor came in and was like, I'll get you $1 million for this place, and turns out it's worth 8.
Yeah.
Right? And the bank doesn't care what Jimmy says. The
right.
bank's going to do their own appraisal, going to have you do an appraisal. So you might as well just say, okay, this is facts on the table. Take the emotion out of it. Some dude, right? Scott's going to come in and Scott's going to do an appraisal and say, here, guys, there's your appraisal. That's what this house should be worth, right? Is it 100% guaranteed? No, because someone could buy it for a little bit more. Someone could offer you a little bit less. But in essence, that's an unbiased third party that says, here's an excellent number to work off of,
Yeah.
right? And do that. And then he gives it to both of you. Now you have it. What if you don't agree? Fine, pay for a different one. Go get a second one, right? Now, one side has one side has the other. But at least you're running off factual numbers and not just your feeling. Because again, the feelings don't matter, unfortunately.
Yeah, and
in this spot, it doesn't matter.
Yes, as far
They
as
matter, but not in this particular part of what we're talking about. They don't matter. Your opinion means nothing.
Of course, the important piece here is sometimes you'll get one person who gets their realtor and they say, look, I want to buy the other person out. And that realtor gives a number that's so low. And the other person says, I don't think it's that low. I don't want to be bought out. I'll get my realtor. And then they come and they give you a number that's astronomical. And you know what? It can get weird. It can get confusing. Why does one agent say it's worth $1 million and the other agent says it's worth 600,000? The appraiser comes in and says it's worth 8. Fuck are we doing? Right? And
Yeah.
so that's because you've got different people with different agendas, whether it's the agent or whether it's one of the parties, the people we're separating. So yeah, get the appraisal done, and then you know what you're working from. The other part is, as hard as it is, and as hurt as you are, and as much as you feel like, man, my life is falling apart, try as much as you can, if you're getting separated, to let go. Right? Let go of your ego, let go of the house, let go of everything that you can. You know, it's so hard when you see people just holding on and holding on hope, and like Elsa says, man, let it go. you know it'll just make life so much easier for you, if you're not just grabbing on, right? It'll be more amicable.
And I wonder, I haven't been through it. So this is purely anecdotal, right? Purely anecdotal. But it's interesting to see it from, I'm going to say my perspective, but the financing perspective, in terms of like how difficult it is today to go out and get back and get into the market on a single income.
Yes.
Right? It's damn hard.
Yeah.
Like damn hard. You have to be in a certain income level to do this on a single income.
Yeah.
So even I'm almost saying, like, if this is something you're considering, you really want to get the numbers before you decide that this is just it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want to get an appraisal on your house. You want to find out how much you can actually afford, because maybe it might just be cheaper to get some counseling. I don't know. Right? But I'm just saying, it is so damn hard that you really want to take heed of that decision. And I say this because I've seen it. And two, everybody's going to be in your ear, right? It's like, I tell clients all the time, especially new buyers, I'm like, people are going to smell, your circle is going to smell that you're buying a house, and they're going to come in just like, da, 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 da. I did it this way. I did this. My guy told me this told me this, right? I'm here to filter that info. So if you trust me enough at this stage, you listen to what I tell you. Take all their information and send it to me. Because what you could do 5 years ago, you can't do. You can barely do what you did last year today.
Yeah.
So what they did it doesn't matter. It's gone.
Yeah.
So if your parents got separated in 1987 and said, just go do this, you are fucking being led down a path that doesn't exist anymore. So much has changed, right? I don't even know. I don't even know what the rules are legally on some of this stuff, right? Family law and real estate law make these weird crossovers where all of a sudden something's cool and something's not.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to take in all this information and really discuss. I had this one lady call me once and she was like, yeah, we're separating, and we've, with coming amicably, our separation agreement's in the works. I'm gonna get we own 2 houses. I'm gonna get one of them, very little mortgage on it. Like, this is all gonna be like that. And I'm like, so what do you do for work? She's like, and I'm not dogging her, I'm just saying she's like an artist, and he made way more money, but she took care of the home, and that was their life, and that's fine. And she's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna sell the house. I'll rent for a bit, then I'll come back in the market. I'm like, don't do that. She's like, what? I'm like, don't do that. Like, you can't. I'm like, I'm just telling you. I'm like, you will not get back into the market. She's like, but I'm gonna have like X amount of dollars. I'm like, you will not get back into the market if you sell that asset. If you sell the asset and you take the money, take the money. That's fine. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying, don't do it with the expectation you're coming back in, because you will not. The math doesn't math.
Yeah.
You made $40,000 a year by yourself.
Yeah.
You are not buying. You're not getting back into the market. It's not 2016.
Yeah.
So think about this. Do the math, right? That's the honest truth. I wasn't trying to punch her, but that was the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep the house if you can, and the last sort of point that I want to make is that if you are going through the process of selling your house and you're not getting along well, make sure that you can at least get along and be on the same page about what the process is that you're working through with your agent. You know, if you've got a, you know, a service provider coming to your house, scheduled to come to your house, you know, in that pre-launch process, whether it's a stager or a home inspector or something like that, you know, if someone's scheduled to come by at, let's say, for example, 10 o'clock on a Thursday, and you change your mind and, you know, agree to something at the last minute, don't just go and have a screaming match in front of the service provider while the service provider is there, show it up.
I feel like this is a story that you've seen.
Yeah, man, this is, you know, I mean, first of all, the service provider's there, right? They're there to perform a job and a task and go through and, you know, help you prepare your home for sale. If you're not selling your house because X, Y, or Z anymore, or one person's buying out the other, and you finally agreed to doing it last night, maybe give a little bit of a heads up. You know, don't just get into it, well, in front of the service provider after they've driven an hour to arrive at your location. I mean, that's just, you know, that's hard. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What would be, so if people are going through this, what are, like, from the realtor point of view, what are your quick 3 tips on what to, on how, on what to do?
get an appraisal, get on the same page, and just let one person be the driver, right? Whoever's the driver, let that person be the driver, and just, you know, take what happens. And I had one that I did where the separation agreement wasn't complete yet, and the husband met up or shacked up. The husband had 2 8-month-old twin girls, and so did the wife. But the husband had been shacking up with his best friend's wife on the side with these 2 little girls. And so it's like, okay, we're selling the house, and separation agreement hadn't happened. By the time the house was to be put up for sale, the husband and the best friend's wife booted it all the way to like a different province, like not just like Quebec across the river, but like Nova Scotia or PEI or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm out. I don't care about the kids that I've got. I don't care about this. This is my new life that I'm taking on with this woman. So bibbity bobbity boo. See you later. So, you know, and then meanwhile, the divorcee, the wife is left to hold everything together and pick up the pieces. You know, like just a total trash move. And yeah, don't do that, I guess is my point. I really like the point that you made of, hey, you know what? If there's a way to salvage this, we're in such a consumer era where it's take something, throw it away, next. Take something, throw it away, next. Don't be like that with your partner. If you got some issues, seek counseling, do some stuff about it. I've done a ton of counseling with my wife. You know, and we're better for it. Like I'm talking years. We've been together for 20 something years. We've done 12, 13, 14 years of counseling, you know, with our together as a couple and individually, you know, and I don't think that either of us is planning on leaving the other one ever. Um, Knock on wood again. But like it's expensive to do it, but it's a lot less expensive and a lot less heartbreak and a lot less, you know, chafe for the kids than the alternative. I mean, we get a front row seat, buddy, you and me, to these things and seeing what people are going through, and it's devastating. It's devastating to see people acting the way that they do. It's devastating for the kids to go through it. My parents got divorced. It sucked. It was fucking terrible. I don't want to do that to my kids. So, you know,
I think too, it's what we see. What I get to see is how to protect yourself, and this is either side of it, right? Is to protect yourself in case of the what if. I don't like to think that you want to go into a relationship and be like, okay, what if this goes south? What do we do?
right.
Unfortunately, the way the laws are set up, you kind of should,
Yeah.
right? You kind of should is
Yeah.
go in there and say, okay, right? we're buying a house. We're not married. I'm bringing this, you're bringing this. Cohabitation agreement, I would tell everybody to get, right? I would tell everybody to get one of those, especially if you're not married, right? And then even understanding some tiny nuances, even if it's just hearsay. Like, for example, I don't remember what the actual number is. Could be 3 months, could be 6 months, could be a year. I've heard them all. At some point, you're common law.
Right.
And at some point, right, even though you're not married, right, someone's entitled to half of that house.
Right. Yeah.
Right? You guys have a kid together, still not married. And then someone pieces out, right? Guess what? You still want to have some type of separation agreement written down about what's to happen, because I'm telling you guys, the bank doesn't care about your plight. They just need to know there's not some random ex-partner out there that can come in and be like, this is my house. You guys did without me, suing you and gonna drag shit through the mud for 20 grand or 30 grand. Yeah. Right? That's the thing. You need to protect yourself. And when you understand those, just some small little laws, right? You can protect yourself. And quite honestly, you're protecting your partner too. And you're protecting your future partners from this stuff. Yeah. Right? Like, that's the thing. So right away, yes, get an appraisal. If you're not married and you're moving in together, doing something on the mortgage together, and co-signers, this is for you too, especially parents, right? You get that cohabitation agreement written up. Yeah. And how that works. Right. And if now there's a kid involved, right? If you've been together, whatever that length of time is, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, right? And that person's like, peace, I'm out. Now, again, this is easy to say. Maybe they're a douche and they don't want to do it. But you would want them to sign off something that says, I'm out. I don't want any part of this. Now you've got it. Because I've had clients who are in a new relationship and have kids, and that dad in this particular case just went AWOL. He was gone. Yeah. Right. Well, no, he wasn't. He was still around, but he wasn't really involved. Right. And they didn't have anything written up. And we had to literally, I had to ask the wife of this couple now to call this guy and be like, I need you to come to the lawyers and sign this thing. Yeah. That says you're okay with me buying a new house with my new family. Right. How shitty is that? Yeah. Yeah. How shitty is that? This guy's a douche and you got to ask his permission? Yeah. Brutal. Don't put yourself through that. You love each other on day one, sign the stuff, make sure you're all protected. Then no one else has to get dragged into it.
The other thing is, if someone's going for a pack of smokes, don't ever expect to see them again. Terrible joke to end the ceremony, to end the session.
Oh man.
I'm a freckled redheaded stepchild, so I say it with grace. Anyways, hit that button, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share with someone you think might enjoy this kind of conversation. As always, you can download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can also download the buyer seller guides below. You can get down below and check out the link to Magic Mind Collective 20 to get 20% off, or you can get up to 48% off a full-on subscription, which I would suggest. And you can also book an appointment with Cal or I in the Calendly links below. As always, thank you very much for your ears and your eyes. And until next time, keep it real.
Collective.